We have finished deploying all the units on the map. This is the Battle of Nikopolis. This is the next battle in our last century of the Ottomans mini campaign. In the previous two battles, the games were as follows. In the Crimean War, the Russians held against the Ottomans at the Battle of Kurudere. At Alexinac, the Ottomans were able to beat up the Serbians, and now we have finally entered the main war. And this is one of the first battles of the war in which Russian army attempts to take the city fortress of Nikopolis. Nikopolis is situated right here. As you can see, the terrain is one of the more complex terrains to build in BBB. This is a small scenario, to be frank, and we'll see how it goes. So let's get started. And the Ottomans, Onur and Emir, are the drunk Russians. This is the end of turn 3, before the start of turn 4, and the situation is as follows. The Russian units over here have been making attempts to close in for assault. Two units have come very close, but generally speaking, the Ottoman fire has been good enough that none of the assaults have yet been able to connect. Over here, one Redif unit was exterminated by a massive fusillade of all of those artillery units that all became ammo low. So things are not very good for the Ottomans, because now they're only left with two field units. Beyond that, this Russian unit here has become spent. I was very lucky, it almost got destroyed, but it survived. So things look not that great for the Ottomans right now. The Russian steamroller is coming, but we still got a long way to go until even a draw. So we will see.
Roll it, guys.
We start with here we go. 2 versus 4 for the attacker. So we start with a +2 in the interest of the attacker. Let us say defender in cover. Yes, defender is in cover, and he gets how much from his little rifle pits? -1. So it becomes a 1. So now we go. Defender outflanked? No. Numerical advantage. We have 6 bases versus 4 bases.
3 by 2.
3 by 2, so 1. It becomes 2 again. Aggressive. Are any of the Russian units aggressive? No. Are any of the Ottoman units aggressive? No. In depth? Yes. 1 Russian unit is in depth. It becomes +3. Disrupted? Yes. 1 Russian unit is disrupted. It goes to low on ammo? No. Fragile, yes, the Ottoman unit is fragile, it goes back to 3. Spent, 1 Russian unit is spent, it goes back to 1. End result 1. I feel like I'm one of those people saying money and something. So at 1, defender retires 3 inches, attacker occupies defender's position, both are disrupted.
Hurrah!
Okay, we are at the end of the 6th turn, start of the 7th. The Ottomans finally gotten on the plateau successfully and have essentially destroyed most of the field army of Hassan Pasha. 1 Redif unit over here was completely annihilated. Pretty much there's no chance for the Turks to win right now, so I decided to move the Nizam away from defending this area and letting the Cossacks have fun with the empty entrenchments, and try to move them over here to at least try to stop the Ottomans the Russians from taking 2 objectives. As things are right now, they've got they have a good chance of winning. We will see how it is. The guns over here have done a semi-good job. 2 Russian units are spent, so hopefully together with the spent hood will make them slower. Russian artillery is still limber, it hasn't been able to do a lot of damage, but we will see how it goes. Come on. Okay, we are at the end of the 9th turn, start of the 10th turn. The 10th turn is the final turn of the game. The Russians are winning. They control 1, 2, 3 objectives over here. They have overrun 1, 2, 3 artillery pieces, exterminated essentially 2 units, the 2 Redif units of the Ottoman field army. Over here, the Nizam unit has tried to essentially retake the lost objective here. If it could, it would be a draw, but it can't. And it has become spent, it's probably going to be exterminated. 2 Russian units, I believe, have been exterminated from the game. But things are essentially going very well for the Russians, and I think it is going to be a resounding victory for Mother Russia and Tsar Alexander II. But Hassan Pasha this time fights, so I guess he doesn't get a death penalty for failing to defend Nikopolis.
Okay, we will give him a medal.
Yes, yes. Okay, so 10th turn, great victory for the Russians, who control 1, 2, 3, 4 objectives. The field army of Hassan Pasha has been completely obliterated. The last Nizam unit died bravely over there, shot to pieces by a massive amount of artillery. Nikopolis is still in the hands of Hassan Pasha, but obviously after this destruction he's probably going to surrender it, only this time with some more fighting. So this is the 3rd battle we the last century of the Ottomans, and it is going historically. Korudere was won by the Russians, Alexinac was won by the Ottomans, Nikopolis was won by the Russians again. As for my record, I was the commander in 3 of the battles where my side lost, so it's 0-3 command-wise. But things are going interesting, and finally now we can enter into Plevna and the big battles of the Russo-Turkish War. Great game, guys, thank you very much, and we are going on.
Thank you,
See you,
Konstantinos.
everyone.